Salutations to the calm effulgence, endless, not belonging to space-time, and very importantly, that pure consciousness which can be known by experience only. The first part of the verse and the second obviously must be read together. That calm, radiant brightness, radiant and bright only in the sense of not being dark. Dark symbolically, bright symbolically. Darkness is a symbol of ignorance. It does not represent anything particular in space-time. Rather, it represents the illusion that space-time itself is. So when darkness is symbolic, the use of the word effulgence or radiance or brightness or tej too is necessarily symbolic. It must not lead the reader to believe that light, physical light as such, or brightness of color as such, or anything that is perceptible through the eyes or not perceptible through the eyes has anything to do with the truth, the self, the Atman. It is made very clear that the subject matter being addressed does not belong to space-time and hence cannot be contained in any activity of thought. Now that makes things very interesting for us because towards the end the verse says the pure consciousness which can be known only by experience. If not understood properly, it will be a very misleading verse. Misleading not because there is an imperfection contained in the verse, because the human mind, but because the human mind is used to reading everything as per its own limitations. So when it is said that the self, the truth, the Atman is the pure consciousness that can be known only by experience, it must not lead the listener to believe that any kind of experience is an experience of pure consciousness. Seekers through centuries have been wandering in search of spiritual and mystical experiences. And that trend, that desire, has gained even more momentum today. Not only are there people who really believe that there is an experience of the divine, there are also people who claim that they can provide an experience of the divine, of the spiritual, of the mystical. Such people often take the shape of teachers who are making very lucrative promises. And to bolster their claim and promise, they would not hesitate to make use of verses like these. Pure consciousness that can be known only through experience. Let it be absolutely clear that there is no experience of truth. For the simple matter, for the simple reason that all experience is contained in space-time. And the first half of the verse itself makes it very clear that we are talking of something which does not belong to space-time. Is this part very clear? In fact, if this becomes clear, we need not even take up the next 4 verses. Because this itself is the central disease of the mind. What is the central disease of the mind? The disease is to search for liberation in objects. To search for liberation within the domain of space-time. We say we are going to meet somebody holy. We say we are going to now read something holy. We say this particular activity that I am now doing is a special activity, is a divine activity. This exactly is the misconception that prevents the liberation of the mind, that blocks that liberation of the mind which is anyway mind's nature. Are you getting it? It is extremely easy to interpret the second half of the shlok as something referring to personal experience. The ego would quickly want to latch onto it. The ego would say, see, this is what Sage Vasishtha is saying. He is saying that you can know truth only through your own personal and individual experience. But the fact is that all experience requires an experiencer, and that experiencer is nobody but the ego. That all experience requires something separate from you to be experienced, and hence all experience is necessarily in duality. Can there be experience without somebody to experience? And that somebody is surely going to be limited, because what he is experiencing, the object of experience, will be outside of him. Hence we are necessarily talking of duality. Hence we could not be referring to the non-dual truth. This is the malaise of the spiritual seeker, and this is also the malaise of the worldly man. Both are suffering from the same disease. The worldly man tries to find salvation in money, in material, in body, in everything that has an ostensible name and form. Is the spiritual man, the so-called spiritual seeker, also not committing the same mistake? He says, I am out to find Ishwar. And what is Ishwar if not a product of your mind? And if you want to contest that, then just pay attention to the fact that when you are deeply asleep, then there is no Ishwar for you. It is only in the waking state of your consciousness that you start conceptualizing anything like Ishwar. So whatever you are seeking is necessarily mental. Whatever is mental is material. All contained in space-time. What is a product of mind is not going to liberate the mind. We are easy to dismiss. We are quick to dismiss. The pursuit of material. But we are equally inclined to take up the pursuit of the holy without realizing at all that this is nothing but a divisive activity. Again, we have located the holy within the space of our mental field. The mental field has a great and wide expanse. It is another Akash. Just as there is a great domain, a field, that is perceptible through the senses. Similarly, there is a great domain, Chidakash, which is not perceptible through the senses, but which exists as the mind. Now, whether the object is located geographically, somewhere in front of you, here or there, or the object is located mentally, ultimately it is just an object. It will not liberate you. Then why is Vashisht saying that that particular pure consciousness can be known only through experience? His words must be approached with great attention. He's saying, pay attention to experience. Look at experience itself. Pure consciousness known only through experience. So experience will become the tool, the method. Pure consciousness known only through experience. So experience is the method. And he is giving us a great insight into the methods of spiritual inquiry. He is also telling us what can be probably the only and the highest possible method of meditation. He is saying experience. Experience is what will open the doors of pure consciousness to you. What is this experience? Is this any special, extraordinary experience that he is referring to? No, he is referring to our daily life. He is saying you are experiencing anyway, 24 hours. What you call as existence is nothing but experience. If you are existing, you are experiencing. Is there any moment, is there any activity which is sense experience? No, there is not. If you can be attentive to this whole stream of experience that you are, then that, the truth, that purity will show up. I repeat, the truth by itself is no experience. But because we are beings of experience, hence paying attention to experience, not creating a new experience. Because any experience is just another experience. We have been committing this mistake since centuries. In the name of holiness, we create special, exotic experiences. Somebody says, I know a special form of divine dance. Somebody says, I know a specially holy place. Somebody says, I know a special bodily method. All these are just more and more experiences. But why do you need more experiences? You are already so full of experiences. Your life itself is an experience. Every passing moment is an experience. Every relationship is an experience. Every breath is an experience. We are experiencing beings, are we not? The sage is advising us, this experience itself will become the gate. This experience itself will become the method. Look at the whole flow of your experience. Not only a small part of it. Attention is not something that you can restrict to 30 minutes a day. So you have to look at the whole flow, how you wake up. What are you thinking? How does it feel when the television set is switched on? Why do you rush to the newspaper every morning? What is your relationship with the housemaid? What is your relationship with the street vendor? What is your relationship with your landlord? What is your relationship with your husband or wife or children? What is your relationship to your livelihood, your job? These are the experiences within which we are located. These are the experiences that shape us. These are the experiences that constitute our I, our ego. Or does the ego come from anywhere else? No, it is a product of experience. It is a product of time. All experience is time. So the sage is saying, let experience become your tool, your method. Pay attention to your daily life. Be honest. See who you are. See why you indulge in something. See why you are afraid of something. See why you are attracted towards something. See why you resist something. You get it? Divinity does not consist of visiting a temple. Because in visiting a temple, you very carefully and very mischievously declare that outside the boundaries of the temple does not exist. You have restricted holiness to a small field of land. Right? You say, let me get rid of my slippers at the entrance of the temple. Don't you see what your mind is telling you and what you are telling your mind? That this area belongs to the Lord. And if this area belongs to the Lord, surely you have appropriated the rest of the area for yourself. So the ego is saying, let me give you 1%. And in giving you 1%, I now become qualified to claim the remaining 99%. Is that also not we do when we reserve a special time for worship? So this time belongs to a divine activity. And what about the rest of the day? You see, practically it is not possible. What do you mean by practicality? So you are saying the rest of the day, you are the one who has to take care of yourself. In those 30 minutes, you can submit and surrender to the truth. And the rest of the day, you have to take care of your shop, of your livelihood, of your money, of all your mental concerns. If we pay attention to what Vasishtha is saying, all these myths will be dynamited. Vasishtha is saying experience, the totality of experience, the continuity of experience. Pay attention to that. Are we getting it? It is a very smart trick of the ego to divide and fragment. You see, you go to people's houses and what do you find? One small area is appointed as the puja room. And the puja room is very distinct from the drawing room and the bedroom. Now you can very comfortably continue with all your rubbish and mischief in the drawing room and in the bedroom. Not only can you continue with all that, you are now very secure that you are doing all this under the supervision of the Lord. You are saying, you see, we paid obeisance to the Lord in the morning. So now the entire day, we have His blessings and we can continue on our old ways. I was a kid. One priest once blessed me. He said, "You are a bright boy. May you be successful in whatever you do. May God bless you." Now the fact was that even as he was saying this, being the naughty one that I was actually wanting to run away from his presence, to go out, to play, to do all the ordinary and small things that kids are fond of doing. Now he says that with the blessings of God, may you be successful in whatever you want to do. It immediately came to me that at this moment, what I really want to do is run away. So you are blessing me that may I be successful in running away from you. Anyway, I didn't say that. I was probably too small to clearly enunciate what was coming to me. But is that not what is happening? Will the truth bless us to be successful in whatever we want to do? Or will the truth decide what we must do? Yes, but that is what we wish. When we approach the truth, we say, I have my desires, and if I am coming to you, it is with the expectation that my desires will be fulfilled. Come read the scriptures. Yes, sir, but why? They will help you achieve your goals. Seriously? Will they? Or will they totally dissolve and destroy my goals? Is that not what the scriptures themselves say? But if you say that, then people won't come to you. If you say that, then your popularity will be threatened. So you never say that. You say that, if you come to me, then you will be a successful man. Successful in what? Take the example of a few terrorists who are trying to enter a building in order to kill everybody present there. That has happened quite frequently in the recent past. Now, before entering that building, the terrorists pause for 5 minutes, close their eyes, and try to calm down their mind. In some way, they are meditating. And this actually does help. No, they are not thinking about this and that. This activity has helped them become better terrorists. That is how the ego wants to use even the truth, even godliness. My objectives must remain, and the truth must be a tool to fulfill my desires. If I use the truth, then I will come closer to my personal goal. That goal is bigger than truth. I will not allow the truth to direct or dictate or dissolve that goal. But because the goal is so significant and sacred, I will take the help of truth. I will use the truth as a tool. I will take the help of God to reach my own goal. Spirituality is surrender. Surrendering to the immense. You will not decide when to go to God. Because whatever your decision is just your own decision. You will not decide where to place a statue of God. You will not decide when to remember God. You will not fix up a time that this is my time to recite the holy mantras. But we create these divisions. Vasishtha is saying, kindly do not divide. The activity of dividing is in itself an experience. See why you want to divide. See why you want to confine spirituality to a small room of your house. See why you want to confine meditation to half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening. Seeing this divisive activity is coming close to the fact of the experience and experiencer both. Then you come to know who they are. And having known who they are, you are liberated from them. This liberation itself is purity. Pure consciousness is not another state of consciousness. Pure consciousness is a dissolved and surrendered consciousness. You will never experience pure consciousness. When you are gone, that is called pure consciousness. You yourself are the impurity. With you present, how can there be pure consciousness? But that is our claim and our great desire. I have accumulated everything else in life. I'm a successful man. Now I also want to conquer the spiritual domain. I have been a winner throughout. I have been a winner of men, of money, of resources, of wars. Now I want to win God as well. So let me enter the spiritual field now. It happens with most successful people. After a particular age, they say the next frontier is God. The last frontier. Do not be misled. He won't be contained in your small mind. You would never be experiencing God. And anybody who has those kind of claims, I see divine lights, I hear divine bells, I feel something rising in my abdomen, I feel a tickle running down my spine. There is something that, ascends up my neck and right up to the middle of my head, the kapal. No experience is a spiritual experience. All experience is mental. Because in all experience, all you have is objects. Is there any experience free of objects? I had a visitor yesterday. He said, I have a problem. I said, what is the problem? He said, I feel I am Ishwar. I said, is that a problem? He said, no, I also see a flute. I see the divine snake. I hear bells. And I feel I can do anything that I want. Okay, great, good enough. Now what is the problem? He said, the world does not respect me. My parents have thrown me out. My wife is not with me since 1 year. I said, but you think you are Ishwar? He said, yes, of that I am very sure. I said, from somewhere that realization must have come to you? He said, yes. I said, from that source itself, the solution of your problems will also come. He said, I knew that. I said, and if you want to talk further, you can come again when I'm a little free. I'm a bit occupied right now. He said, no, I won't come again. I anyway understand everything. Such is the ego. It objectifies everything for the simple reason that it cannot go beyond objects. Because I cannot rise up to the truth, I will bring the truth down to my level. That is the whole effort of the ego. Unfortunately, there are just too many avenues in the world where this approach is being continuously and apparently successfully applied. Are we getting it? Whole life is divine. See how you walk. Pay attention to what you think. Look carefully at your life decisions. And in that looking lies the divine. One is living his life like a machine, like an idiot. But he is very particular about his routine of worship. Is that sensible? Is that intelligent? Is that spiritual? Can spirituality and wisdom be dissociated? And if your mind is not radiating wisdom, how can you be spiritual? Wisdom is not about uttering wise words. Wisdom is about living a wise life. Yes, I know what I am doing. Yes, I understand the quality of my relationships. Yes, I know why I am collecting for the future. Yes, I know whom to respect. Yes, I know whom not to respect. Yes, I know when to let go. Yes, I know when to fight till death. This is wisdom. Yes, I know detachment. And yes, I also know how to plunge into love. This is wisdom. Wisdom is not about donning a particular serene expression on the face, wearing a particular kind of clothes, knowing a few verses, having read a few books, being trained in a few methods. None of that is wisdom. And I'm sure because we live, we experience and we suffer, your heart would resonate with this. Yes? So, two things. One, the very first verse makes it clear that what would calm the mind down, what you are seeking, is not within the domain of the mind. That which would give peace to the mind is not of the mind. And second, yet the gateway to that, the road to that, is the mind itself. The mind and its daily experiences. Are you getting it? It's a little paradoxical, but this paradox must be totally understood. First, that which you are seeking is not of the world, is not of the mind. Second, though it is not of the world, neither of the mind, yet only through the mind can you reach it. Only through the mind. And you don't have to do anything special in the domain of the mind, because in the domain of the mind, anyway there is continuous happening. Just pay attention to it. You are living continuously, without break, without any intermission. Pay attention to what you are doing. The strong gaze of attention has the purifying effect that results in the purity of consciousness. And that is the last thing. Pure consciousness is not about having a special kind of consciousness or mind or thought. Pure consciousness is a dissolved mind. Pure consciousness is a surrendered mind. Pure consciousness is a mind that is not chasing its own personal goals. Getting it? So you are not there. Because till the time you are there, your agendas, your identities, your goals, your likes and dislikes would persist. Would they not? So we move into the second one. What does it say?
It says, neither one who is totally ignorant, nor one who knows it, that is the truth, is eligible to study this book. Only he who thinks, within quotes, I am bound, I must become free, is entitled to study it.
Now, is there anyone whose mind does not cry out I'm bound, I want to become free. It does. Everybody's mind is suffering, and wherever there is suffering, there is an associated call, cry for liberation. This suffering of the mind, this feeling of hurt itself is the invitation of the divine. You couldn't have felt bad, you couldn't have suffered had there been no possibility of liberation from the suffering. You suffer because suffering is not your nature. Had suffering been your nature, you would not have suffered. And if everybody is suffering, then why is the wise sage creating distinctions? He has made 3 categories. He is saying there are some who say, I already know. There are some who say, I do not know. He's saying both of these are disqualified. Only the one who says, I am suffering, but I do not want to suffer. He is the one who should read on. He is the one who is qualified to come close to the scripture. Otherwise, please continue with your daily chores. Go get busy in your daily life. The divine is not yet calling you. You have not yet been blessed. Or is that so? Is there anybody who has not been blessed? If everybody, as we claimed, is suffering, then everybody has been blessed. Without being blessed, how would you have suffered? In fact, those who are blessed the most, they suffer the most. The common man hardly experiences his suffering. What is it that I am calling as the experience of suffering? All I mean is acknowledging the suffering. You suffer, but you suppress the suffering. You suffer, but you hide the suffering under pretty names. You say, no, this is not suffering. This is duty. You say, no, this is not suffering. This is care and concern and love. You say, no, this is not suffering. This is my responsibility towards my community or religion or job. That is where lies the distinction. Kindly do not think that truth has made any distinctions. Grace shines equally upon all. God does not discriminate. Man creates distinctions. The ego divides. So, God is not saying that there are 3 kinds of people. Truth is one, not even one. But the mind is many. And this manyness of the mind has been represented by the sage in 3 categories. 3 kinds of minds. 3 kinds of minds according to mind. Are you getting it? Not 3 kinds of minds according to some divine rule. 3 kinds of minds. 1, I am all right. Have you not met such people? They are saying, but I am all right. Why do I need to read the scriptures? But I am all right. The sage is saying, congratulations, you are already all right. Continue being all right. Continue being all right till the day you suddenly collapse. Have you not seen such people? Obese, 140 kilograms, and they are all right. May I have another pizza with double cheese? They are all right. Their fate is fatal. They suddenly collapse. Gone. Sudden death. Finished. And it is not only about sudden death either. The one who is 140 kilograms is suffering every moment. He can't bend. He can't walk. But his claim is, oh, I am all right. I do not need advice from a dietitian. I do not need a teacher. And of course, I don't need a guru. I don't need to read the scriptures. I do not need to look at my body. I do not need to understand how I am feeling. These are the people who are all right. And then there are others who say, I'm not all right and I'll continue to not be all right because not being all right is my destiny. They'll say, see, Buddha said life is suffering. That was his first noble truth. When the Buddha has stamped this as a certainty, who am I to try for any liberation? So I am destined to suffer. The world runs like this. Why must I try anything special? They'll say, even great men, they came and then they died and then there was no trace left. I am just a teeny weeny, ordinary, little lady. How can I be any different? Vasishtha is saying, great. You too have come upon the truth. So you need no further education. But then there is a minuscule third category. These are people who say, sir, our situation. It is a little self-contradictory. On one hand, we have evidence, factual evidence of our suffering. The way we live, this whole world is the factual evidence of suffering. On the other hand, we have a mystical hope of liberation. The suffering is factual. The hope is transcendental. We do not know from where the hope comes. We do not even know what we are hoping for. Against a visible army of assailants, I have an invisible defense. But a defense I surely have. Against great suffering, I feel I have an intangible support. But supported, I do feel. So I am suffering. But there is something within which tells me I must not suffer and I will not continue to suffer. The sage is saying, welcome. You surely are a mad bunch. And spirituality is only for such mad people who can enjoy paradoxes, who have the great capacity to observe facts, yet who can live beyond facts as well. They have the eye to see and the honesty to acknowledge that life is suffering. And yet they have the third mystical eye to have a divine hope that this suffering can discontinue. You getting it? It is only for such people that the sages speak. It is only for such people that the Upanishads were written. What does the third verse say? Until one is definitely blessed by the Lord, he will get neither a guru nor the right scripture. Until one is blessed, he gets neither guru nor the scripture. Keep reducing. Keep hacking down the words. Blessed, you get the guru and the scripture. We have reduced it, made it precise. Blessed, you get the Guru, the scripture. Reduce it further, condense it. Blessed by whom? The truth itself. And what do the Guru and the scripture do? They say that they take you to the truth. So the truth is blessing you to come to it. The truth comes to you first, and then you come to the Guru. The truth, the Nirakar truth itself shines as the bodily Guru. The ineffable truth itself comes to you as the scripture. Which means that you can never really go to the Guru. You will only run away from the scriptures and the Guru. The truth itself is the Guru in person, in shape and form and name. You run away from the Guru. It is the truth that takes you to the Guru. In other words, it is the inner Guru that takes you to the Guru in person. Left to yourself, you will decide only against the Guru. Left to yourself, you will only decide in favor of your own likes and priorities. Guru obviously does not serve your likes and priorities. He dissolves you, he purifies you. This purification in the eyes of the ego is a kind of murder. Are you getting it? Expressed absolutely, it is a purification. It is an ascendancy. It is a cleansing. It is a liberation. It is a treatment, a cure. But from the perspective of the ego, the effect of the Guru on the mind is that of assault, violence, killing. The ego feels scared. The ego says, the Guru, the scripture, will kill me. Are you getting it? So the ego by itself will not come to the Guru. Never say, I will decide whether or not to go to the Guru. Your decision would always be wrong in such matters. Your decision has been wrong even in the trivial matters of life. How can your decision be right about choosing a Guru? The right Guru would always come to you through some kind of an accident. You would not even know that he has come to you. You will start reading the scripture only through sheer chance, sometimes perforce, of your own choice, of your own accord. It rarely happens. It happens randomly, without preparation, without planning. You wanted something else, but you stumbled upon the scripture or the Guru, like Kabir did. You know the story of Valmiki? What was he uttering? That is how the ego comes across divinity. And he was being honest in a way, because this is a world of death. Sadhoye murdo ka gaon. See, so he was only saying what is our everyday experience. He was saying, mara, 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 mara. Of course, he had been instructed to say Ram. But the ego is an idiot, a forgetful idiot. Just as we forget in the daily matters of life, we are equally, even more forgetful in divine matters. So he is saying Mara Mara. But what he is saying is very factual. This indeed is a mortal world. And because you have gotten the fact right, the Mara becomes Ram. Are you getting it? This is the key. Get your facts about the world right. And facts will take you to the door of truth. On their own, not through your planning. What does the next one say?
Just as a steady boat, O Rama, is obtained from a boatman, so also the method of crossing the ocean of samsara is learned by associating with great souls.
Wonderful, but will not reveal itself to the deceived ego. I could have said that the lines themselves are a little deceptive. The lines are not deceptive. The ego lives in deception. The ego is a permanent fool. So it will only misinterpret even the simplest of words. It says that the method of crossing over the river or the ocean, the Bhavsagar, is learned only with someone who is a good boatman, who has crossed over himself, who knows the art of sailing through. So in association with such people, you learn the method. Now it is easy to interpret it as some kind of knowledge being obtained from the Guru. You know, there is the boatman, and you go to the boatman and plead, "Sir, you know the boat, you know the oar, you know the art of boating, and you know the river, and you are experienced, and I am just lying at your feet. I am a nobody. Can you please help me? Can you please teach me the tips, the tricks?" That is how the mind wants to construct it, right? That is the imagination that comes to us. It is hardly this way. It is hardly this way. The boatman cannot teach you anything. No knowledge can be given in these matters. In fact, knowledge itself is the river that you must cross. You cannot cross an ocean using more waters. But because the ego lives in knowledge and lives nothing except knowledge, hence it thinks that crossing over the ocean is also a matter of some divine knowledge. So it divides. It says, you know, there is knowledge of the material, there is the knowledge of the wall, of the atom, of the soil, of the planets, of the plants and trees, and there is the knowledge of Brahm, of Atma, of divine. So, if we have divine knowledge, then we can cross Bhavsagar. No, all knowledge is same. All knowledge is mental activity. Is there knowledge in Sushupti? Is there knowledge in Samadhi? Is there knowledge even in your ordinary deep sleep? Is there knowledge in innocence? Is there knowledge in love? But the ego inflates itself on knowledge. So it says, give me the knowledge of Brahman. Give me the knowledge of truth. I was reading the Wikipedia yesterday and somehow a page on Advaita Vedanta opened. And you know what did they say? They said, it's there in Wikipedia. It says, Advaita is the idea. Advaita is the idea that Atma and Brahm are one. Identical. And then you click on the hyperlinks that Atma and Brahm are. And you come to see that there again, effectively they are saying that Atma is an idea. And Brahm is another idea. So they are saying that that Advaita is the idea that the idea of Atma is the same as the idea of Brahm. Now, you can laugh at them, but you cannot blame them. We even say Advait Mat or Advait Vad as if these are somebody's opinions, as if these are things of argument, as if all this has resulted from mental activity, as if all this is a product of man's imagination. Are you getting this? The boatman himself is the method. The boatman will not tell you a method. The boatman is the method. Otherwise, there is no method. The Atman is the only method, which means that there are an infinite number of methods. Just as Shiva is the only dancer, but the dance has an infinite number of movements and poses. Similarly, the Atman is the method, and when the Atman is the method, then everything becomes a method for you. Then even the soil becomes a guru. Then even the river, the boat, the birds, the sun, the stars, the wind. Every experience of life becomes the guru. But everything can become the guru only when, first of all, the guru has internally blessed you. Kindly remember, the guru is not a person. The Atman is the guru, the Atman, the truth, the self is the only guru. And when the self is the guru, I repeat, the whole universe becomes the guru. When the self is the guru, then the self becomes the light behind your eyes. The self sitting in your heart becomes the light behind your eyes. And then your eyes can see. When you can see, will you see selectively? Those of you sitting here have eyesights. When you have eyesight, you will see everything. You will not say that I have eyesight, but I can see only that watch or the wall or the gate or the carpet. The one who has eyes sees everything. When the self shines behind your eyes, then everything is illuminated. Then everything and everybody and every book is a scripture. Then every place is a temple. Then every square inch of earth is a place of pilgrimage. Are you getting it? Kindly never take the guru as a personality. The next one. The great remedy to all suffering is the inquiry, Koham, who am I? The great inquiry into suffering is getting close to suffering itself. The sage says, what is this sansar? The sansar itself is the suffering. The sage is saying, get close to suffering. Is there any experience of your suffering which has not come from the world? Go into your own experience. Verify it. We all have our wounds and hurts. Any of your wounds and hurts that have not come from the world, that have not come from an aspect of your relationship with something or somebody? The sage is saying, suffering comes from the world. Suffering is in fact analogous, the world. So inquire into the world. And parallelly he is saying, find out who am I. The world gives the suffering to this I. Let the inquiry be parallel. Who is giving the suffering and who is the sufferer? This is classical duality. There is somebody who is affecting me and there is somebody who is getting affected. There is an object and there is a subject. The sage is saying, inquire into both. I and the sansar, inquire into both. And when you inquire into both, then both dissolve together. And now, the non-dual truth, the Advait Satya, has descended. Now there is freedom from both the world that appears outside and the ego that appears inside. In fact, now, outside and inside, both are gone. Outside and inside are space. Gone. The total import of all these 5 opening verses is simple. Kindly do not look for the beyond. Kindly do not look anywhere else for liberation. You are living, you are alive, you have a life. Go into your own daily experiences. Go into how you are living. Are you getting it? What am I wearing? What am I eating? Where do I come? And from where do I go? Am I attentive? What am I planning for? What am I looking towards? Am I still thinking of the future? Am I still thinking in terms of time? Am I always thinking in terms of time? The sage is saying this is the only method. And he is saying the truth being the only method, it comes to you only by the grace of truth itself. And truth showers its grace only when you have bowed down in front of it. All it demands is your surrender. All it demands is your call for help. You have to first see that you are stuck, and being what you are, you cannot help yourself. That all the methods and plans and cleverness devised by you has failed, is failing, and is condemned to fail. Once you have seen the utter futility of all your effort, that is when you surrender. In fact, seeing the foolishness of your ways, seeing the ineffectiveness of all your planning and cunningness, is the entrance into spirituality, is the advent of surrender. Are we getting it? So let's be just a little more honest. Just a little more honest about what is happening. What is happening every minute, every moment, right now. In this honesty, there might lie a little initial pain. Because when you will see, you will only see that you are needlessly torturing yourself. That will disappoint you, especially if you consider yourself to be hale and hearty. But kindly let that disappointment come to you. That disappointment is auspicious. Once you are totally disappointed, then you let go of your hopes. Your hopes from yourself. That is surrender.